Hello and welcome to another episode of Spread Some Magic 1928. Today I have two base recipes for you. We are going to make pesto and we're going to make Alfredo sauce. Alfredo is technically not really found that many places in Italy, and the way I make pesto is not a traditional Italian style either, but that's okay. They just taste so much better when you make them by hand. Feel free to use jarred pesto, but if you do it this way, the recipe I'm about to show you will fill 2 ice cube trays. And then you pop them out and put them in a Ziploc bag, and then you can have fresh pesto year round. Like, it really is a game changer in your recipes, and it couldn't be easier. I blend mine, so my pesto is very smooth. It's not chunky. The traditional way also has pine nuts, whereas mine doesn't. And you would mortar and pestle that. One of these days I am gonna try, and I would love to make it to Italy, and I think it's on the Amalfi Coast I've seen where they have classes where you make pesto. That's fantastic. But for home purposes, we're gonna make this super simple. You start off with 2 cups of basil, washed, picked off the stems. I do pack mine in. I don't know if it's supposed to be packed or not. My recipe is literally on a 3x5 card. So, 2 cups pesto. 2 cups basil. And then you need 3/4 cups, or a 3/4 cup of olive oil. That I prefer, and I try to make sure it's extra virgin olive oil and that it is all sourced from Italy. If you don't see it, like this says 100% Italian, a lot of times they do a mix from like 4 or 5 different countries in your olive oil. Good olive oil is worth it. You're gonna need 10 to 20 cloves of garlic. That's what my recipe says. I have about 15 here. A lot of times I do use the pre-peeled garlic at the grocery store for ease. I have a couple recipes that call it, it's a lot of work to get that many cloves of garlic ready. You're gonna need 1 cup of grated Parmesan. I do cheat and use this one. And then you need a 1/2 cup, which is 1 stick of butter melted. So I'm just gonna pop that in here where my olive oil was and into the microwave and then into my blender. Be right back. You're gonna add your 1/2 cup butter to the blender. Get all that goodness out of there. And then blend up. So we'll be right back. Blend until you get to your desired consistency. It's perfect. Let's dig in. Okay, maybe not dig in, but at least give it a try, right? 15 cloves gets it quite the garlic kick. No vampire will come close to you with this. This is actually very delicious on a burger with caramelized red onions and brie cheese. Fantastic. I highly recommend. So let me get this poured and these into the freezer, and I'll be back to do Alfredo. It is almost as simple. All right, it is time to do Alfredo, and guess what? You only need 4 ingredients. Yes, that is right. 4 ingredients to make homemade Alfredo sauce, and it is so good. Maybe a little more salt and pepper to taste. So that's technically 6 ingredients, but start off with a 1/4 cup of butter. That's a 1/2 stick. And we'll take it to the stove, and I'll go through this with you too. You need 1 cup of heavy cream, 1.5 cups of grated or shredded Parmesan. Mine's a fine shred, and it is hand shredded. This will melt easier than the store-bought stuff. Whatever you got will work, but this will work. And I pack this in because I like things cheesy around here. If you've been around here, you know that. And a clove of garlic minced. You also know that I like garlic, so this is more than 1 clove, but the recipe does call 1 clove. So what do you say we take it to the stove, and we're gonna have Alfredo sauce in under 10 minutes. All right, first off, we are going to melt that 1/4 cup of butter, again, 1/2 stick of butter, over medium to medium-low heat. To the melted butter, we are gonna add the 1 cup of heavy cream, getting all that goodness out of there. Mixing it up, and then stirring or whisking, whichever you prefer, occasionally for 5 minutes until it has been thickened. Let's try with the whisk. Yeah. Incorporating all the ingredients, do this on occasion for 5 minutes. After your Alfredo base has been simmering for about 5 minutes, we are going to add the garlic. Mix that in. And then we're gonna add the cheese, kind of little by little, whisking as we go. Oh, I really packed that in there. Until all the cheese is melted. Once the Alfredo, or once the cheese is melted, your Alfredo's basically done. At this point, taste test and see if you need salt or pepper. I think it's delicious, but we'll add a little bit of pepper. And maybe a tiny pinch of salt. Parmesan's pretty salty. That is the tiniest pinch of salt I think I've ever done. All right, let's go try that out. All right, we've got our beautiful Alfredo sauce here. This amount is made to cover about a pound of pasta. It's your traditional bag of pasta. Most people do fettuccine Alfredo. However, if you get a noodle like a fusilli, a rotini, a cavatappi that has those grooves, even rigatoni, sometimes penne, though that's usually smooth, something with grooves in it, it holds the sauce. Fettuccine works, it's what's known, but a rotini or the fusilli, like all those grooves and all that spinach, it holds the sauce better. It's so great. So why don't you say we give this a try? Perfection. If you want it thicker, add more cheese. If you want it thinner, not quite as much. You saw I had packed that with cheese. This is great. Use it on your next pasta night. Put it up on the pasta bar. And then check my kitchen tips for how to reheat. These two sauces are great if you're having a pasta bar. Mix them together, have them separate, whatever you want. This is great on chicken breast, it's good on burgers. I don't know about pork, but this is fantastic. Pesto is good on so many things, especially bruschetta, toast, whatever. I love pesto. I like Alfredo. Now you know how to make both. So thanks for stopping by today. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe, and spread some magic wherever you are. Until next time.